She hasn't even been an adjunct professor at a college or university. Now, she served on the State Board of Education. Okay, she's a board member for 8 years, chair for 4 years of the Florida State Board of Education. I'm sorry, that ain't it, y'all. That's not it. So I can understand why Rattler Nation is angry and upset of what is going on. What's crazy is they're going to be paying a grossly unqualified person $300,000 more, $300,000 more than they were paying the previous president, Dr. Larry Robinson. That is absolutely insane. Show these board members. Show the board members. These are the board of trustees. And show the next one. 8 of these folks. Here's what's crazy. One of these people was literally installed on the board yesterday who still voted today. Who still voted today. Do you understand how insane that is? I don't know what these folks were thinking, but there's no doubt in my mind when the board had 3 esteemed candidates and they shoehorned Marva Johnson in at the last second, folks, it was already decided. It was already done. This cake was baked. They basically decided, Ron DeSantis said to his people, make my girl the president. And in the 8-4 vote, that is exactly what they did. It was extremely contentious today. There were folks who spoke at the hearing. And again, if you look at social media, if you look at all of the talk, all the chatter, I mean, it has been on fire. Folks talking. I have seen individuals make clear that they were going to, that they were pulling their money. There was one woman who said she had already included Florida A&M in her will. She was removing them. I can guarantee you are going to see a backlash. This is not going to sit well at all with the alumni at Florida A&M University. It was incredible just listening to the arguments that these people made as to why she should be the president. It was unbelievable, again, listening to them. The board chair weighed in with her thoughts. I just want to show some of what the board chair had to say. And also, again, this board hamstrung her. Go ahead.
But I believe in the values of this institution: accountability, transparency, integrity, and inclusion. And your voice matters. And leaders can't lead if there's no one who is following. As Trustee Bryant mentioned, stakeholder groups across various constituencies have expressed deep concern and emotional sentiment around one of the 4 candidates. When Chair Lamb and I worked together to name the search committee, I wanted nothing more than a high integrity process that produced exceptional candidates. I'm a believer in God, and I believe in doing things in decency and in order. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I apologize to any finalist or semifinalist whose names were leaked due to a breach of confidentiality. What was circulated about one of the candidates, one of the finalists, prior to this week, in spite of that, I came into this week with an open mind, but I was left feeling empty. Many answers were hollow. Many statements were false. PharmD students don't require a dissertation to graduate from Florida A&M. And today, there are students from over 70 countries in our student body that are represented. That's not an aspiration, that's a fact for today. There was a lack of intellectual depth and a gap in cultural connection that was just painfully blatant. I also want to make a point about the range of compensation that this board approved today. In candidates' applications, they shared their salary expectations. Candidates Allen and Hector, the range was between $400,000 and $500,000. Finalist Johnson, $750,000 base plus additional performance-based compensation and commensurate benefits. And finalist Palm, negotiable. As a fiduciary, I don't think it's financially responsible to select a finalist whose qualifications pale in comparison to others and whose salary requirements we cannot afford. I want to go on the record to reflect the hypocrisy. I also have to go on the record as a Black woman. In an age of merit-based hiring decisions, how can one justify settling for a candidate who does not meet all of the position criteria, or turning a blind eye to exceptionally qualified candidates? As our beloved Joe Bullard would say, the difference is clear. With that, my vote today will be for the candidate who I believe has the executive presence, the institutional knowledge, the love for FAMU, a deep and abiding desire and proven ability to engage authentically with every stakeholder group, because every stakeholder group matters. One who will not shrink from the pressure or the history, the challenges or the gaps that have gotten us to this point. Because there are so many things that still we need to course correct and we need to close the gap for so that this institution will remain in perpetuity.
Welcome back to Breakdown Friday. Joseph Ward, Patrick Irvin, Professor Carl Tone Jones, and we are here getting into what's going on the Hill at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. So I have to give some background information to catch you up on what's going on in case you didn't know. So FAMU has been in search of their 13th president. Dr. Larry Robinson was the 12th president. He retired, had an interim president. I just met him. I just talked with him just this past Saturday. I met him at this church. And so they've been searching for a new president. And so I'm literally 5 minutes away from FAMU. I can literally walk to FAMU from my house, right? So I'm right down the road. I grew up on FAMU campus. I still work on FAMU campus. I graduated from FAMU. Pat from Tallahassee, he know. If you Black and you live on the South Side, it's FAMU, right? So FAMU is deeply entrenched into the Black Tallahassee community. FAMU has been able to produce a lot of distinguished Black people throughout, and they have done great things throughout the world. So it's a beloved HBCU. It's one of the most popular HBCUs. It's been voted the #1 HBCU, #1 public HBCU several times over the past several years. So FAMU has a reputation of being a great institution, but it is an HBCU, so it is ran like an HBCU. And if you know, you know. And if you don't know, basically I'm saying a lot of HBCUs, or most of these HBCUs, they be ran like people work at Popeyes, right? So a lot of the past mistakes that have happened at FAMU have left them vulnerable and led them to this situation, right? So looking for a new president with a lot of things that need to be fixed with the university. But despite the things that need to be fixed, FAMU is still coming out on top as the #1 public HBCU. So looking for a candidate, as Roland Martin stated, in the search for the candidates, a candidate was added late. And a candidate was added who has ties to Ron DeSantis. Now remember, FAMU is in Tallahassee, Florida. Tallahassee, Florida is one of the 2 blue counties in this whole North Florida area. This is a liberal blue area. Everything about FAMU is Democrat. Now, this candidate, Marvin Johnson, who is the president now, will not, or is not, the first Republican to be the president of FAMU, but you know how Black folk be. So that was how we were introduced to her, MAGA Marva. We knew nothing else about her. All we knew is Ron DeSantis has put somebody in the race for FAMU president who worked with him, worked on his cabinet, worked in his administration, rather. And so the search goes on, and she becomes a finalist. Now, she is grossly, as Roland Martin, and you know, I don't like agreeing with Roland, but I'm agreeing with Roland. She's, because I looked up her credentials, she is grossly unqualified, habitually unqualified. I'm just finna make up words. She is ostentatiously disqualified. She is hemoglobinally disqualified. I know it don't even make sense, but that's what happened, right? That's what I mean. It don't make no damn sense, right? So like Roland said, that's like me, that's like FAMU picking me with my resume to be president, because none of her resume, and I'll show you her resume, none of her resume says university president. And so not only did she become a finalist, she was picked to be the 13th president of Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. And of course, you know, Black folk are in an uproar. When she was put into the race, everybody was like, oh, hell nah, the Republicans are trying to take over FAMU. Now, the reason why a lot of people are saying the Republicans are trying to take over FAMU, there's history to that. Florida State and those white people who are anti-HBCU have been trying to take over FAMU for the longest. When I was young, and Pat can attest to this too, when we were young, we didn't know why older Black people, FAMU supporters, hated FSU. They hated FSU. I'm talking about everything about FSU. You say, you could be saying, you might not even be talking about FSU, but if you say a word with F and S in it, right behind each other, they go, you talking about them damn crackers. That's how they were about it, because of the history of trying to take FAMU from them. So this is built into a history of, well, they've always tried to take FAMU, and why wouldn't this be a grand opportunity for them to take FAMU? And a lot of people feel like because this person is who she is and who her affiliates are, because the grander thing that people are saying is Trump trying to take over FAMU. So it goes back to Donald Trump. So people feel like this could be the end of FAMU. And that's what we're here to break down. Because we know we've always had talks about HBCUs, but have FAMU shot themselves in the foot? Are we here because of a lack of being able to run the institution properly? Or are we here because the institution is doing good things, but the white people don't like it, so they want to stop it. So those are things that we want to get into tonight. But I want to make sure I give you some backstory about what was going on, but also a backstory of why people don't like her and her affiliation, because there's a history of FAMU trying to be taken by the others. So Pat, you from Tallahassee, man. Start with you so we can get PC into this Tallahassee stuff, man. So what are your thoughts about this whole MAGA Marva thing and her becoming this 13th president of Florida of FAMU?
Well, let me just say this. I am appalled by all of the people that are not accepting this current expression of Black girl magic.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. She is a Black woman. She is a Black woman, and she's supposed to be magical no matter what.
Right. And I'm also appalled at how we've conveniently forgotten that our past does not determine our future. It doesn't matter what we did 5, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, yesterday. None of that matters, because none of that determines what we're going to be today or do tomorrow. Right? Hey, if it work in one situation, why it don't work in all of them? I don't understand. So I'm just appalled at the hypocrisy on display right now.
Hypocrites.
Yeah, I'm appalled. I'm appalled at the hypocrisy that is on display right now. I am literally taken aback. I am aghast. I am run amok. No, but in all seriousness, I don't think this is going to end FAMU. Are there some aspects of it that are very much uncomfortable? Yes. Would I have picked her? No, I would not have. I will say the HBCU system as a whole is broken. FAMU is one of the few institutions that are on the HBCU platform that they're doing a lot of stuff that I agree with, I support, and I like.
Yeah.
The fact that and I don't know if they still have it, but the fact that they have one of the only Black-centered psychology programs.
They still have it.
That is amazingly significant to me. And it is something that other HBCUs should be ashamed for not following the model. Or at least not recreating some iteration of it on their own. So there's a lot of good things going on at FAMU. That being said, again, I say the HBCU model is broken. And I don't think the Black community as a whole needs somebody that is ingrained, inculcated, and purely created by the system to continue to try to lead a broken system. That being said as well,
she ain't the one.
Right. It doesn't look like she's the one.
I mean, but you have to admit, because, and I'm going to pull up her resume after PC give his point. We pull up a resume, but it's some bullshit, because it's like she has a nice resume for a good finance job, but not to run a damn institution of higher education. Like, so it's some bullshit.
Mm-hmm. So what I'll speak to is, I don't think this is going to be the nail in the coffin for FAMU. If the final nail is in FAMU's coffin, it's already there. And what this is just the body continuing to bleed out. Like you said, Joe, they've been working over FAMU for decades.
Yeah.
Been doing what they can to gain control of FAMU for decades. I remember growing up and hearing about how FSU was trying to take the engineering school and the law school and various other portions of FAMU's campus. And then there was even talk about they're being concerned because anytime a FAMU's college was better than an FSU college, FSU was coming to try to acquire that college. And so we've seen this play out time and time again. More important though is that if this is a DeSantis cool type move type event for FAMU, we also have to point, like, we can't just point at MAGA Marva, as they want to call her. What about all the Negroes that have co-signed it? What about that black board? That board of trustees was mostly black people.
It was, and I know one of them. We came up with one of them board members.
Yeah, so you can't just point at DeSantis. Honestly, you can't point at DeSantis at all because he has influence, and he does have influence. But the Negroes that stand between him and the decision itself, those people with direct power, what are they doing?
Well, I mean, like I said pre-show, of course people want to know what I think because I talk a lot and I always have an opinion, and I guess people like what I be saying, so I appreciate that. Oh, but before I get that, make sure y'all like this video, comment, subscribe, share.
I keep doing the finger.
I know, but you know, that's why I got my FAMU shirt on, because I was into it. But if you don't hit that like button, you support MAGA Marvel. You support the FAMU takeover. If you don't hit that like button, you support them trying to shut down an HBCU if you don't hit that like button. So make sure you hit that like button so we can have the support we need. But make me forget what I was gonna say. But,
well, here's the truth of it. FAMU was taken over decades ago.
So
go ahead.
We have, because I'm a graduate of FAMU, right? And so what's interesting is it was myself and 3 other people that I work with. We're all FAMU graduates. Most people that I work with are FAMU graduates, right? And we were having this discussion about how do we got here, because like I said, when Marva was introduced to us, it was MAGA Marva. So my first thought was, well, I mean, the position FAMU is in has been largely, the people who put FAMU in the position is in has largely been Democratic people. So I'm not even sure why we're going the political route. So let's take the politics out, because the Democrats ain't been running it right, and the Democrats been stealing money and all that stuff there, right? If we're talking about political affiliation. But let's just look at her resume. But also, FAMU was vulnerable. If FAMU was better, if the things have historically, FAMU had been run better, basically. Historically, if they've been run better, FAMU would be less vulnerable to something like this. They would be stronger to resist. They wouldn't be in this position. Now, once again, like I said in the beginning, are they in this position because they were fucking up? Or are they in this position because they're doing too good and the white folk don't like it? You know, that's one of the questions I got.
Well, but the white folks
have the answer.
Well, the white folks have never liked it, and that's why, again, I say, if FAMU is in this position now, then we've got to point to it and say, this happens. Like, the top level senior leadership of FAMU's campus was done in this way because the school has already been taken over. This is akin to what's calling out gentrification after all the white people move in.
But it's a public HBCU. It's a state.
Exactly my point.
I've always called it a WHBCU because most of the funding, it's a state funded institution. Most of the funding,
my point.
75 to 80% of the funding is state funding. Whoever is the governor of Florida will have a say in who is the president of these state-run institutions.
And the alumni don't give back enough.
Right. The alumni only give 6%.
So again, this happened because FAMU has already been taken over. And with that, I'm gonna shut up and mute.
PC, I understand you're an outsider and you're not that prominent on the history of FAMU, but you know about HBCUs fucking up.
Mm-hmm.
You do. You do. So even from that perspective, but from the information that you've been able to gather from the video and what we've been talking about, what are your thoughts on why FAMU is in the situation it's in, and you think this could be the end of FAMU and the beginning of the end of other HBCUs?
Well, I think because of and just because of what y'all were just talking about, I think FAMU is already over in terms of the direction of being under, in the best interest of the black students and having black folk in control. What you got is a lot of black faces who seem to be in the same circumstances and situations where you have like the Black Political Caucus, the Congressional Black Caucus. We just saw out in California, this state Black Caucus had a chance to bring the first bill that was actually going to make it to the floor in California history for reparations, and none of them cowards had the balls to actually bring the vote to the floor. In fact, it was a Republican that was a member, it was not a white Republican that was not a member of the Black Caucus out in California that actually motioned for them to even bring it to the floor for a vote. And all they needed was one Negro to second the motion, and they would have actually brought it to the floor. See, this is what we talk about when we talk about the Boule societies and the Boule members of our community. And we talk about Boule, we're just talking about the bourgeois. We're not even talking about people who are part of what is it?
The frats.
The frats and the sororities, the Divine Nines, and
well, they couldn't save the Boule couldn't save them this time.
Well, the thing is,
or is the Boule working with them?
Well, that's just it, right? Because even the board isn't, they just showed the board. The board was all black, wasn't it?
So
one
the search
guy was all black.
The search committee is, I'm looking at it now, two white people and Raphael, 3 non-white people that I can see as far as pictures. So now to that point though, in the beginning when Roland was talking about one of the committee members was added at the last minute and still had a chance to vote, that was Raphael Vasquez. Raphael Vasquez is the owner and operator of JV and Sons, and JV and Sons own all the McDonald's in the area. I've met him before.
That's important,
so,
man. You want, breakfast sandwich or McGriddle.
I mean, but it's like this guy was put on that committee at the last minute to help make a vote toward Marvel, which is another log on the fire of this some bullshit.
That's crazy work considering how DeSantis is on immigration.
So according to what I've been told, he joined the committee, voted, and then got off the committee.
Well, look, man, it's all a mess. It's a cesspool. And the like y'all was saying, if you wanted to, this goes back to the fact that black people don't protect what's ours, and don't protect the notion and the concepts or even the things that supposedly fall under our ownership, such as an HBCU, was, by the way, was founded by black men. But I was shocked when I saw that FAMU was founded by black men, former abolitionists and things of that nature. Go ahead.
But how do you protect something that's white funded?
You can't. But that's the problem, isn't
it?
So
that's why you're saying they over, because they've been over from the beginning.
Yeah, it was never. The master will never give you the tools to tear down his house and build your own house, especially when he benefits from you consistently pouring into his house. So if you're state funded and you have not found a way to get contributions, and because you can run off I'm pretty sure you can run off some prestigious names, right, of people that have graduated from FAMU. But it's just like every other HBCU. People love to show up with the letters. They love the homecoming and the parties, but when it comes to their alumni funding and foundation, then there is nowhere to be found. We don't prioritize for as much as black people, and especially with the conversations we've been having lately about the lack of black men being at HBCUs and so forth. The people
Right.
who are graduating from black HBCUs are not funding or investing back into those HBCUs.
You want to know what's ironic about that though? Is for this specific situation with FAMU, the loudest, most popular voice is Will Packer, the Hollywood producer, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's probably the biggest funder, one of the biggest funders, who's a black male. So
I just saw there was a brother that was a hemp farmer out in Texas that donated $237 million last year to FAMU. But I'm saying is the people that are graduating are not putting back in, they're not investing.
no, you're right.
In the college, if only 6% of the money is coming from the people who are graduating from the college, then you got to ask yourself, why are you concerned or complaining about something that you didn't see important enough to invest in?
But I tell you why they're not investing. Because they had a fucked up. I'm over my F limit, but they had a messed up experience at FAMU.
I was waiting for somebody to bring that up.
Yeah, I hit my limit. I know. I was waiting, but like I was alluding to, the conversation that I was having with coworkers in the office last week, and we were talking about the situation with Marvin Johnson, but we all drifted into talking about our bad experiences with FAMU and how FAMU messed us over. And because so many people have those experiences at HBCU, some of them, financial aid was so horrible. It was so horrible for them to get their money that they were supposed to get to go to school, that when they graduate, they like, I don't want to give money back to this institution. So you kind of have like the diehard FAMU people who are giving back, but the bulk of the people whose experience was not the best, because I know when I was there was a gang of people who left and went to FSU and other schools because of the experiences with financial aid alone. And now, on another end with this, people are saying that they're going to stop supporting FAMU. So if the idea is that MAGA is trying to take over FAMU, if you stop supporting it, don't you make them more vulnerable to be taken over if that's the idea?
Well, this is the foolishness. I'm sorry, PC, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
This is the foolishness that sometimes makes my pool hole itch. Because the fact that Negroes that don't support something to begin with are going to use the threat of withholding support to get their way. Like we see this, but this is regular black people rage, right? Like we see. Go ahead.
Well, context. Yes, that part is true, but in this particular situation, you have actual supporters who are talking about taking the support that they give.
Even when we was boycotting the NFL, there's some of the people that actually boycotted the NFL actually watched it.
Right,
but the vast majority of people that boycotted didn't watch it. The same with when we boycotted Walmart. Some of the people actually shopped there, but the vast majority of people didn't shop at Walmart anyways. So I get what you're saying, and I'm not trying to paint that.
I know what you're saying. I just want to I just want to put that out there, that you do. You have the sideliners, and then you have the people actually in the game.
And see, here's the thing: if all of those sideliners was actually in the game, then the threat of the boycott might actually do something.
But as a cycle, how do we get over the cycle of?
We don't get over the cycle. That's the frustrating part of it. This is a part of the cycle. Didn't summer just start? Then we say every year we need something to exercise. I meant march for. I meant protest. I meant rally for.
So because I was listening to her interviews with the board of trustees, and I'm not understanding how she get picked after listening to all that. But going back to looking at the history of FAMU,
Joe, she a DEI pick. I can't even believe they mad.
I know. We know that. We know she a DEI pick.
Yeah, But that's what I'm confused about. What everybody's confused about. When DEI is working, we excited about it. But then when it do something like this, which let's be honest, it does something like this pretty regularly.
Well, yeah. I mean, but it's you have to have internal reflection. You have to have internal reflection.
You see, I gotta keep correcting you and PC.
See,
y'all have to have internal reflection because y'all are adults and you're mature ones at that.
Well, stop
with fully
complaining.
Gonads.
If you're not going to have internal reflection, you can't complain about your what's going on.
You asking a 6-year-old to stop being 6.
Hey, well, that's why you in the position you in. They brought an adult in to raise the 6-year-olds.
But if you're saying stuff like the funding and all this, then it would make sense that somebody that's good with finances would probably get denied.
Thought about that as well. I thought about let's bring up.
That's why I'm like, there are a bunch of different angles to go straight to MAGA Marvel. Like, I get it. It looks funky, but let's not act like FAMU has this long and storied history of great administration.
Right. No, I'm with you. So this is her curriculum vitae, rather. So we'll start at the beginning. Let you read.
It's like a resume. It's a resume.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a CV.
So number 2 is financial oversight and management.
Yeah. I mean, but that's a good point you made, because that's one thing that I thought about is, okay, well, FAMU has historically had financial issues, and if she has a background in finances, then that will help. But does it translate to her actually running an higher institution of higher education? And that's what a lot of people are looking at.
But we don't. That's the whole point I was making earlier. We don't know if it translates.
Right.
Like, I was being silly and talking out of both sides of my neck, absolutely, because, you know, the current climate we in. But as I'm looking at those bullet points, and I'm looking at, so the president of a university, do they need to understand the means of funds and finance in that university? Well, yes, they do. Do they need to be an academician to be successful at the presidential level? No, they don't.
No. Now, but you have to go back and look at and I'll put the link in the description for everybody to go, but you got to go back and look at the interview that she had with the board. She didn't even try to do her homework on the institution.
Of course she didn't, Joe. Black girl magic.
And so, you know, they asked her a question about how will she help FAMU better connect with the community. And the answer was this around the world answer of, well, you know, we need community and we have to have this, because if we don't have community.
That sounds like the last presidential candidate from the Democratic Party.
Hey, I'm just saying. But
hey, Joe, so I hate to keep cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
To me. So you're dating, right? Well, you're not dating now. You got somebody, but you were dating, right?
Yes.
When you were dating, did you ask women questions?
Yeah.
Okay. I ain't even got to say no more.
No, but I get it. But at this point, you are interviewing for a job where you are leading. This is a university with 10,000 students and a whole bunch of faculty, staff, and administration.
She don't care about none of that. She trying to get to the bag.
But also, and saying that, remember, she's getting paid a $700,000 salary, which is $300,000 more than the last president who were more qualified.
Joe, this is the Trump election, the first go around all over again, when he was just doing it and he didn't really believe it. This lady probably applied for the job thinking I'm gonna ask them for basically $1 million because I ain't gonna get it anyways. And then had an oh shit moment, like, oh shit, I got picked. And these Negroes let it happen, and now they got the nerve to be upset. Look, man.
But you know,
this is. Go ahead, PC.
This is the shit we talk about, though. I guess we're gonna do a lot of cutting out, Joe. This is the stuff we talk about, though. When you talk about how black folk don't take, like and it's fair because we always talk about our conversations off the air, like the conversations we had with each other. Black people do not take the jobs of being professionals and being leaders seriously. They rather look the part in most cases. I'm not saying we don't have qualified black people out here that take the work seriously, but we have too many that end up in this position that like the polished name, like the golden nameplate on their desk. You got too many of them that want to take pictures looking distinguished online. We got too many of them that want to pose and take pictures and have photo ops, but they don't necessarily want to do the little things that make sure that you're in complete compliance with the ability to do the job and that you're actually protecting the job and things of that nature. This is why we consistently find black institutions under this type of scrutiny. We often say we're being warred on as a community, but there's people who feel like they have overcome the racial war, that they don't no longer applies to them, and so therefore they can just move and frolic about. And while they're out there frolicking and profiling and basically fronting about the position, you got somebody that waltzes in through the front door, not even the back door, through the front door. And now y'all want to complain about it. It's like, oh, we was just playing at first, but now this is serious. It's always serious. It was never playtime.
Well, that's been my argument for a lot of people is, oh, now y'all care. Oh, now we need to take this university serious. Now we need to take running serious. Now we do. Now you are concerned. I mean, we could have been doing that for the longest.
It's like the person that gets cancer and then they get cured of cancer. And now they change their life around. And for some people, the cancer is terminal, so we can only help increase your life expectancy, but we can't cure you. That's what black people are in terms of operating, especially in societies like this. You know, where this is in the college. Let's be clear. Let's just be clear. The majority of people that work in the higher education and institutions, I see it every day. They treat this like it's just an extension of working in a high school. The majority of them actually treat it like a school atmosphere. And I'm talking about the so-called professionals where, is catty, is focused on everything but the job. It's, gossipy. It's, who's with this clique and who I speak to today, who I won't speak to tomorrow. So much focused on that. I mean, I work at a school that has HBC status because the majority of the students are black. So it's a similar situation. I see it every day. I see the incompetence at the higher. I'm gonna let me shut up. But I see the incompetence when it comes to how things are moving, and I think I see the shaky things all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm laughing at catching myself. I see it. So when these things happen, it's like, well, when did y'all decide to take it seriously? You decided to take it seriously when the frying pan got hot. The whole time you could have been preparing the meal. You was in the frying pan the entire time. You just could withstand the heat. Now the heat has been turned up and things are getting turned up. And this is what really black folk, this is what turned up looks like. Not you just twerking or turning your behind to a camera and shaking your leg like they got the little 3-year-old out there doing. No, this is what turned up looks like. Now they're sitting there asking, they're like,
what more do you want from me? Because I've been thinking, because people are saying that, well, this is the end of FAMU. They want to take away FAMU and merge FAMU with Florida State, just be Florida State South. And my first thought was, well, HBCUs, and you said it earlier, PC. HBCU turn out a lot of black people who are indoctrinated to go and seek out the white society and work in the white society and make money for the white society and go want to work for white corporations and want to be.
Stop right there for 1 second, Joe. I got a question because this is something that I know for a fact that I've heard at other HBCUs. Did FAMU have an etiquette course to teach y'all how to act in corporate society? Like
in the business school, they have stuff
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In the business school,
Okay. Yeah, but they tell you have to cut your hair, you have to dress a certain way, you have to be able to speak a certain way. Okay, all right.
Like,
so it goes to what you just said, though. It just goes right along to what you said.
Right. So these people are being produced at HBCUs. So are HBCUs really seen as a threat to white people if they're producing more of those people than people who may become a radical against the system, because those are far and few. Like I went to FAMU, right? Trust me, I graduated from the psychology program. Like Pat said earlier, FAMU psychology program is one of the only, if not the only, African-centered psychology program in the country. There are numerous people who graduated from that program who still don't know Black history, and they teach it in the program because they didn't want to learn it. So we're not HBCUs because a lot of people get it messed up. They think because you go to HBCUs, you learn Black history. No, there's so many people who've learned more Black history at white colleges than they will ever learn at an HBCU.
Well, let's be clear. HBCUs have been very successful in the same way that Florida has and that America has in general, which is selling the image of culture.
Right.
The perspective of culture. People go to a HBCU because they believe they're going to get the Black experience.
Right.
And what they don't, and then a lot of this is co-signed by, and I've been guilty of saying a lot of this stuff too.
I have too.
So, but that's where the reflection, the growth, and the learning comes in. That HBCUs do not, by design, they're not designed to produce threats.
Right.
They're designed to minimize the threat. They're designed to create people that can safely operate within the confines of the social structure. That's what they're literally designed to do. So why would they don't need to turn FAMU in the FSU side?
They need to improve it.
Right.
You need to improve this instrument that is producing these people who is making our side better and their side are not growing. It needs to be improved.
But here's the other thing. A lot of these people too, let's be honest about it. A lot of these people too that are graduating from these HBCUs and not giving back because they don't have the funds to give back.
Right.
Like they're not making money with their degrees. Let me say it plain.
The social sciences.
Right. With no plan behind it. You know what I'm saying? And the negative experiences is a whole other thing. People like to try to downplay that and say, well, you can have a negative experience at any university. Yes, you can, but it's notorious.
It hit,
HBCUs are infamous for it.
They have reputations for it, and it hit different when your own people do you like that. Look, man. I tell my story.
But
no, go ahead.
Didn't Jackson State University run Deion Sanders out of there?
Yes.
He was bringing them money.
FAMU just lost Willie Simmons.
Great. I mean, people breaking into his office, stealing his wallet and his cell phone. His car got broken into, I believe. It was a mischief to me.
Hey.
And then they sang songs at the stadium talking about if you want to leave. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, hold on, PC, because that's a good point. Didn't that girl just go like viral for taking her naked picture at graduation on FAMU Sacred Ground?
Yeah. She did. She went viral for that at the snake, at the snake statue in front of the student services building. She went viral for the naked picture. But Southern just went viral for at the graduation. They danced. They all acting crazy, dancing, running all over the place and all that.
So you know what I found funny is the funniest thing about all this to me was when the lady mentioned the morals and values of FAMU campus, accountability. I was tickled.
Yeah,
Accountability.
Yeah.
That's what we going with, huh? You picked the big word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Now,
but I get it. I want to say this.
For me, right?
Go ahead.
Y'all know off camera. I told y'all off camera my first exposure to FAMU, right?
Oh yeah.
I
No,
forgot.
you said on camera. Say, go ahead. Remind them. Remind Joe.
Oh, it was on Pornhub.
Oh yeah. The video of the orgy. I mean, it was labeled. Yeah.
So I want to say this, right? I know we piling on fam, right? And do I agree with this hire? Absolutely not. I think it's a horrible hire. Let me say that plain. I don't think this woman deserves the job. I don't think she belongs in the job. But me jumping on her throat would be like me attacking the genital wart on you know what I'm saying? It would be like me attacking the genital wart instead of attacking the person and the behaviors that allowed the genital wart to come into existence. Right. And that's what I'm getting at.
Because I mean, at this point, she is the president. So we want her to do good. And they have to support her if they want her to do good.
But Joe, there you go making sense again.
I mean, I know what I'm saying, and I know how black people operate.
They not gonna support this lady because they at this point, you know, black people, we want to see it burn.
They in their feelings. They like, hey.
And it ain't even no reason for it at the moment.
But that's why
it's certain situations where it makes sense to want to see it burn.
But not this.
I don't know that
it doesn't make sense in this situation. But like they said earlier, one of the ladies talking about she had FAMU in her will. She took him out the will because of this hire. But FAMU still need to support though, lady.
Well, it's like setting a house on fire and you started the fire at the door and that's the only way out. It's like hey, what do we always say, man? You know, when you create your logic based on your emotions, then you'll never truly be able to make logical decisions that are rational. And so what you're seeing right now is a bunch of people having tantrums because something didn't go their way. I have no idea who this lady is, right? I'm just hearing about her.
Yeah, right. This her right here.
Yeah, I see. She got the look. But
she does have the look.
Uh,
all them pearls, is she AKA? She got a lot of pearls on that. You know.
She is. She is an AKA.
It is.
Even more black girl magic.
That is definitely DEI. It's crazy. Hold up. So wait a minute. They mad at this. Well, I want to double back and see if these are the same people that wanted us that wanted to off black men for not vote for 18% of us not voting for Kamala Harris. I want to know if that's the same group.
Oh yeah, it is. It's the same people. It's the 92%. Remember how she was introduced to the people as MAGA Marva.
But I'm saying though, right? Oh, okay. I'm just saying. Okay, never mind. Okay, no, never mind.
Yeah, but you're correct. You're correct. Yeah, it's when because the political affiliation don't line up, everything else is thrown out the window that they supported, that they sold us on, that they told us that we should be supporting on. It's changed now because the political affiliation don't back that. Now, if she was all of that and a Democrat, it might be a bit different.
Oh no, no might about it. It would absolutely be different.
Yep, and that's another thing we were talking about. Is like the people you really can't criticize, but this is an exception because of who she's aligned with.
So real quick, these people that I'm showing, these were the finalists. So Dr. Donald Palm, he's worked at FAMU. She has no experience at any institution like that.
Oh well, he a black man, so we knew he wasn't gonna get hired.
Gerald Hector worked at
his teeth too white.
Yeah. And
he got on a bow tie. What are we doing?
And he got a bow tie and glasses. What are he doing?
Yeah, like, and he dark skinned. Like, what are we doing? Come on, no, it was no hope.
With a bald head. What are you doing?
Right, like there's probably like we don't want you and your misogynistic penis.
You look like you might encourage people to read. It's like that. What the girl told the dude on Pop the Balloon. You look like you read.
You know, like
You look studious or something like that.
Yeah.
Now we want her. She don't have no university experience. She gonna lead us to problems. Now, what I've been telling people, what if she actually does a good job? Then what y'all gonna say?
It's not gonna happen.
They're not gonna allow it to happen.
And she gonna get sabotaged. She gonna get roadblocked at every crucial thing, every crucial direction. It's like,
Make yourself more vulnerable.
but I don't think they care right now.
I feel you. I agree.
They don't have the foresight to see the future ramifications of sinking your own ship right now. In fact, they're becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy by stating that this is the end, and FSU is going to take over, in a merger, which is happening a lot all over the country. These smaller colleges are getting muscled out by the bigger schools, because the bigger schools have the endowments that they don't have. So, because you have like when all the DEI stuff started happening, Pennsylvania University and Yale and Harvard, they lost combined all like $1 billion. But it didn't matter, because the endowments and the alumni and booster organizations and funders, they didn't miss it. But these small schools, they don't have any choice. And you heard Trump said, yo, I'm the one funding all these HBCUs. And so a lot of people thought that was a good thing. And it's a good thing till it ain't. You always got to be worried about where, your meal is coming from and who's providing it. And then what eventually they're going to ask you for, in return for your food. In return. So
Trump did put together the initiatives for the HBCUs, and they're going to have the annual HBCU meetings at the White House and all those things. A lot of people like, we ain't showing up. They showing up.
Bull.
And so, but even with that being said, some people are saying, well, this is one of the reasons why Marvel was put in place at FAMU, so they can ensure that FAMU shows up to Trump's summits.
But here's the thing, right? People are posturing. Let me just talk about something else. This economy is going to make sure certain people show up to places they don't feel welcome to. All right, people could do all of the posturing all they want. When this economy is kicking people in the behind, 106 million Black women lost their jobs last month.
I saw that.
All right, so while everybody focus on a chunky statue up there in Manhattan, this particular the situation about what's happening in real life is real. There's a whole segment of society living in cars and vans and sleeping on somebody's couch right now that, a year from now didn't see themselves in this situation. So, a year ago didn't see themselves in this situation. Yep. All this other stuff people are talking about, what they ain't going to do, this, that. All right. And it's not like it's a plethora of jobs out there to replace the one you're about to lose because you want to take a political stand here and there.
And it's about to get worse because a lot of Black women flooded the transportation and trucking industry. And with them tariffs and all that stuff on them ships not being offloaded, a lot of them that started trucking thinking that they was going to be able to travel the country and see the world and make six figures while driving a big rig. Okay.
A lot of nursing jobs and nursing tech jobs and administrative jobs are going to be replaced by artificial intelligence. So, they're talking about the fact that over 96 million jobs are going to be non-existent in 5 years.
Yeah.
They're going to
class is coming.
Well, they're going to replace it with other jobs, but you got to have other skills.
Right.
And if you don't have those other skills, then imagine putting all your money and you still owe student debt to this particular field that you went into, and now you have to relearn another field. People ain't y'all be fools to say what you aren't and ain't gonna do in terms of your employment. I ain't saying be a whore for the money, but what I am saying is be fiscally responsible for your current situation.
like the same thing I was saying, and we talked about when we had the breakdown on black men not going to HBCUs. Degrees are good, but they bring you fees. Skills pay bills. You better be acquiring skills.
And I think
You're
that
constantly doing that.
we need to be more mature as a people, which is really what this comes down to, because we talk about being stuck in, what we call it, adolescence. What is it? I forget the term. Damn it. when we're locked at that stage of development,
Arrested
development. Yeah, I said the word right. Arrested development. We as a people are stuck in a place where we really don't want to be responsible for the things that govern our existence. And when you put that in the hands of other groups of people, they're going to put their agenda first. They're going to put their priorities first. And then you can't go to and shame the devil. The devil has no shame, no moral compass, does not have any care. You can't go up there and see, we become professional victims as a community. We know how to do that. In fact, some of us think that it's an empowered position to be in a position of always being in pain, or always showing our pain, or always using it as some sort of fuel to hopefully, beg the nature. I mean, not the nature, to beg on the goodwill of the so-called goodwill of the white benefactors that dominate society. I just find it's funny because Aaron Magruder, the guy that wrote the Boondocks, wrote up. He was I don't know where he was speaking at, but it's like 2004, and it just literally came into my stream, my algorithm a few days ago, and he was talking about how black people have used up their social currency in regards to white guilt, or not just white guilt, but benefiting off of the fact that black people have suffered through the institution of racism in this country. And it's a lot of it's because of some of the degenerate stuff that we have seen black people do on social media in real life, and things of that nature, where people don't care. And those people, let me just put it specifically, those people don't care to hear you crying about what's not just in the world and the injustices that took place regarding the black community. They just don't want to hear it. And so you sitting there trying to beg for their forgiveness or sympathy and things of that nature to people who just aren't trying to hear it.
Well, last week's conversation about black fatigue. And so the conversation that you're talking about, like, a lot of people getting tired of black. That goes into this new wave of this black fatigue mess that people are talking about. And it's a once again, like we talked about, it's a re-engineering of what we've already been saying. But internally, even though that black fatigue term has been created and flipped on its head, internally with black people, there is a fatigue. There is a clash going on between ideologies, behaviors, and things like that. Because you have some black people like, I'm tired of the nigga stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we have a right to be tired of that, right? But it's different from what the white folk talking about with the black fatigue. We want to make that clear. It's totally different from what the white folk talking about. But that does bleed into this conversation because we're tired of the cyclical behavior that leads us in vulnerable positions to always have to complain about what happens to us from the dominant society. When, if we're going to talk about them being racist, we should always expect them to be racist. So, and in that, we should be doing our best to be our best and do our best and stop putting ourselves in bad positions. But we don't. We want to throw the rock and hide our hand and get the child consequences. So,
you
got to lead children.
For the last, I say, when we go back to the election, about 4 or 5 months before the November election for the presidency and all the other elections in the country, all we heard about is Project 2025.
Yep.
Project 2025. All we heard about, they have a Project 2025. And, you know, and we covered it. We covered that Agenda 47. We covered all of it, right? And the thing is, and we talked about it then, so I'll bring it up again now. If you know that they have plans for you in the future's now, but they have plans for you, and you don't have plans for yourself,
what you talking?
Whose fault is it that when they put there and they start implementing their plans and so forth, whose fault is it when you get caught with your pants down when they told you they were coming? It's like the whole Paul Revere thing. The redcoats are coming. Well, damn it, if they didn't get prepared for the British invasion on the eastern shore, you know, based on, they were ready for it. They said one if by land, two if by sea. So if he went to the lighthouse and put two lights in there, then they were coming by sea. One light, they coming by land. They had a plan in place. Yeah. We see it coming and then don't do shit about it, and then be the same one. See, I told y'all they was going to do this to us. And I often say, as a man, right? And I'm talking to the men that I've heard say this. If you know somebody's going to show up and whoop your behind, and you let them show up and whoop your behind, and then after they leave, you bleeding and bloody, and you talking about, see, I told y'all they was going to do that to me. People would look at you like a punk. So as a community, when we say they told us they was coming and we didn't do anything to prepare for them coming, you get the, what they call a MAGA Marvas. You get those. That's what you get. You get that. That's yours because you could have done something about it prior to, and you didn't. You rested on your laurels. Y'all thought y'all had it sweet. Y'all was more concerned about the boule ball coming up than y'all were concerned about making sure y'all had the right president in place. And now you got what you got. Now you got to make the best of it because it ain't about you no more. It's about doing what's best for those students that's coming to that school and providing them with the experience and the know-how and the academics so that they can actually succeed out here. It's about now creating programs that are actually up to date so that you're not just putting out graduates, you're putting out graduates that can actually matriculate in society and give something back. It's time to be adults and stop whining and crying like babies.
What he said. I don't even have to close. I don't even have to say nothing, but you better hit that like button or you support what's happening at FAMU.
And more than likely, even if you do hit the like button, you still support it.
Hey man, don't you hold up. I'm pointing it this way. It might be the other way when the camera goes. But don't be talking to my subscribers like that, Pat. Don't make me fight.
Okay. All right, that's right. Joe be having y'all back, just so y'all know. So y'all should definitely subscribe and send him the donations that y'all was gonna send to FAMU.
Please, because I'm actually doing something with him, and I ain't gonna be about the bull. But yeah, and I got y'all back because I love y'all. So. Hit that subscribe, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment, share. I appreciate all the support that y'all been giving the three of us. So please continue to do that. Hey, if you want to keep it, my friend Nicole Everett always says, if you want to keep it, you have to support it. We're gonna end it on that. Peace.